Hey there, Lou from Savvy Digital, and today we're going to be going through a case study of mine, which is a towing business in Bristol, and we're going to be talking about how we achieved a cost per conversion of £5.83 for each phone call that comes through for this business, resulting in over £5,000 in profit every single month. So they currently paused the campaign. The reason for that is personal budget issues with the business. And as you can see, we're looking from the 8th of August to today's date, which is the most recent stretch that they've been running the ads. And you can see we've achieved 198 clicks, £5.83 in terms of cost per conversion, 70 conversions total, and a total cost of around £408 for the ads. So with that, if we look at the business itself, so with the actual value of each customer they get through, because it's a towing business and it's an emergency service, this results in around £60 to £100 depending on the distance for each of the customers that they get. With that, for each phone call, they have informed me that they close around 50% of the calls they get through, which is easy to believe because it's an emergency service. And when people are stuck on the motorway, they don't wait around. They will take whatever they get, and price isn't as much an issue. So getting them in front of the right people and being a top search result was our priority, and making sure they get the most qualified leads. So if we look at the actual campaign structure itself, so we're going to go over to the ad groups, and we're going to look at what we have set up here. So with the ad groups, we basically split them up into the individual services that they offered, this being vehicle recovery, towing, emergency and accident breakdown, as well as battery starts. So you can see here with battery starts, we did actually pause this because it was part of the services they didn't want to include when running the campaigns, because it wasn't really a main driver of revenue for them. And also the cost per conversion was considerably higher at the start when we did actually run it for them. For the rest of the ads, you can see here that they're currently sitting around £6, £7 for the vehicle recovery ad group. We can see the towing is around £6 on the dot. And then for the emergency and accident breakdown, which does have the lowest amount of conversions, but it is converting at such a low cost, it's incredible. So with that, if we move over to the auction insights, you can see the search impression share is absolutely amazing. It's currently sitting around 62%, and with a £30 budget, that is incredible. Obviously, there's a lot more room to scale as well, because you can get that up to an 80%, and that will be ideal for a campaign of this size. You can see here the top of page rate is around 95%, and the absolute top of page rate is around 68.5%. So we're absolutely killing the competition, and it's exactly where you want to be. So I'm not going to show you the exact ads that we use for this. If you do want us to set up the ad set for you for a related service-based emergency services business or a towing business, we can do that for you and use the exact same structure to get you amazing results straight out of the gate. But with the ads that we used here, we did use responsive search ads as well as call only ads, because that works amazingly well with emergency businesses. So moving on to the actual keywords, in terms of landing pages, just to skip over that as well, because that will reveal the nature of the business and the business name. For that, we did use the homepage, a lot of it, which had strong call to actions for calling their phone number and gave them a deep overview of what their business is and a bit about them. So in terms of the actual search keywords, you can see here our top performing ones in terms of conversions. We have breakdown recovery service, car recovery, we have recovery truck, towing near me, things like that, which are very suggestive of the location, the nature of the business, and have high search intent for people that want a quick answer to the problem that they're having. With the match types, we always use a phrase or exact match, because we're trying to narrow down the ad groups as much as possible. A big criticism of what this business was having before with their previous digital marketing agency was they were getting a lot of unqualified leads. Obviously, if you get unqualified leads, this is useless to you, because you're not going to be able to actually convert them into paying customers. And the reason they were unqualified is because a lot of people calling in thinking they were competitors of theirs, or thinking that they were their insurance companies. And that was largely because of the way the keywords were targeted towards including, search terms that were suggestive of them being competitors, or having any details that weren't actually included to mention the brand name at all. With the ad groups, the way that we set them up was to be very specific towards the intention of what they needed, and reduce any potential of including any competitors through negative keywords. As well as that, when setting up the ads, we had strong call to actions within them, within the headlines, and we also had a mention of the brand name at some point as well in terms of the business. So you can see here, for some of the best performing ad sort of keywords that we used here, you can see we had some keywords that converted as low as £1.76 per phone call coming in with towing service near me. And on the top end, you can see we had van recovery, things like that. But obviously these could be bigger jobs. And obviously with each conversion, we're willing to pay a little bit more to get those bigger jobs and get more revenue. Over the course of running the ads, if it does, over a longer course of like a quarter, for example, or 3 months or so, and it still converts, a higher cost compared to the others, we can look at pausing them to optimize, but it's a discussion you can have with the business. Obviously, it's not an issue right now because the campaign is currently paused. Looking at the negative keywords that we have set up, as you can see, we have about 72 total, but with that, it is quite a small list because we are using the phrase and exact match. We're not getting too many wild search terms, even though they're being monitored twice a week. But you can see here we've included a lot of sort of details, such as broad sort of negative keywords for the related terms to towing equipment, insurance companies like the AA in the UK, and things like that, which could suggest unqualified leads. Moving over to the search terms report, as you can see here at the top of the list in terms of conversions being produced, we have recovery truck, we have 24-hour vehicle recovery, a few other details as well. Some converting at as low as 47p per conversion, which is absolutely bonkers. 5 conversions of that is a huge return on money in terms of the investment into that. Obviously, you can see the conversion rate is about 500% though, so it probably means it's someone calling multiple times or something along those lines, or submitting lead forms, so they might not be fully qualified, but still, for 47p, you'll take that any day of the week. So you can see we have many sort of things added and excluded over time when we've been monitoring it. And then if we move over to the auction insights again, you can see the search impression share around 62%, and more of the same details as we saw with the ad groups. Moving over to audiences, we looked at the demographics and the audiences that were bringing in these leads, and we made some adjustments after running the campaign for about a month just to experiment with a few different things. So as you can see, if we open this up, based on the age ranges, we do have a few bid adjustments across the board, just a bid higher for ones that, are having a really good cost per conversion, and bidding lower for those that are converting at too high of a cost, and we want to bring that down a little bit to kind of get Google's algorithm back in check. Same thing for gender as well. We're experimenting here a little bit, as well as household income. With gender, it's not as important. We're just testing a few things. And then with household income, again, with data sets here, you can see they're quite strict with only the conversions coming through from the actual unknown categories there. So if we move over to one of the most important parts of the campaign, which is the actual campaign settings themselves, we can go through this. And I have actually made a video about how to set up a campaign from scratch to be ideal for your business. So check that out if you haven't seen that already. But as you can see here, for the campaign, as I mentioned, it's 15-mile radius for Bristol. You can see we've got the marketing objective as the leads. We can see here that the search networks, we took off the Google search partners and Google display network. And the reason for that is because obviously with it being an emergency service-based industry, people on the road, they're obviously going to be searching in for what they need them to actually achieve in terms of business they're looking for. When we have the Google search partners and display network being advertised across the internet, on different websites, is not obviously beneficial to an emergency services business. We want to narrow down the cost per click and the sort of budget towards people searching for that service, the vehicle recovery. Exactly. So you can see here we also excluded some locations. The reason we did that is because within Bristol and that 15-mile radius, to get all the motorways and places they often sort of operate within, we had to open up that radius, but we also did need to narrow down areas in Wales because there was some crossover which they didn't want to service within. We have the languages as English, we have the budget of £30 a day, which could be improved, obviously, with the potential of the impression share and scaling. We have the bidding set to maximize conversions. We were sort of testing with the CPA, target CPA in this case, but at the moment, we're currently using the maximize conversions. And then in terms of the ad rotation, we're using optimize, using the best performing ads. The reason for that is because we have enough impressions and data for Google's algorithm to kind of get running and give us the best cost per click and sort of cost per conversion. So looking at the devices, probably the most important part of the entire campaign for a emergency services business. So let's say, for example, you are a locksmith, someone's locked outside the house, or you're an emergency service business like a vehicle recovery business that needs to get their car that is broken down off the motorway. Obviously, you're not going to have your computer available. Obviously, you're not going to have a tablet available most times. You're going to have a mobile phone. And obviously, with the actual website being optimized for phone calls to come through. Having mobile phones being your primary focus makes absolute sense in this situation. As you can see, the results do not lie. You can see here, mobile phones are the only thing running with a negative bid adjustment of 100% across computers and tablets, and they're achieving these amazing conversion rates of around 35% in the last sort of 18, 16 days or so. And that is far, far, far better than the industry average, as you might expect. Moving over to the ad schedule, as you can see, some more bid adjustments to kind of go within the areas that are converting better, as well as sort of days for rush hour and days that people might, need the emergency service more. And then finally, we also have the location report, again, giving Bristol and 50 miles around that. So that doesn't give us too much additional details, but that's pretty much everything when it comes to the campaign. And this is how I would structure an emergency services campaign for any business. And as you can see, the results are incredible. And that is how exactly this business can achieve over £5,000 profit per month just from running Google Ads in this efficiency way possible. As I mentioned, if they convert 50% of the leads that they get through, let's say that's around £12 per qualified lead that they convert. Obviously, average business and sort of that they have through, and the average revenue from each customer is around £60 to £100. Let's say, slap bang in the £80 range, 70 conversions within 16 days. That is an incredible return on investment, an incredible added revenue and profit for their business. So if you want someone to run a sort of service business related ad group for you and Google Ads, or someone to look at your campaigns, do get in contact with Savvy Digital and we can do this for you. If you did enjoy the video, please give it a like and subscribe to the channel for more Google Ads content, and do watch the next video on screen about how to optimize and set up your Google Ads campaign in the best way possible. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.